On the morning of June 30th, 1908, in a remote region of central Siberia, the forest was still. The air was cool, the ground was undisturbed. There were no roads, no towns, no witnesses in the usual sense. Then the sky changed. Shortly after 7 o'clock, hunters and reindeer herders scattered across the Tunguska River basin saw a bright object moving across the heavens. It was not slow. It did not flicker. It traveled with purpose, cutting a pale line through the blue. Some said it glowed white. Others described it as bluish or tinged with fire. Moments later, the light grew unbearable, and then the world shook. A tremendous blast tore through the air. The ground heaved, trees snapped, windows shattered hundreds of miles away. Those nearest to the epicenter were thrown to the ground by a force they could not see. Some felt a wave of heat. Others heard a thunderous roar that rolled across the land for minutes. In villages far from the forest, people were knocked from chairs, horses bolted, dogs howled. Many believed the end of the world had arrived. In the sky above Europe and parts of Asia, strange effects followed. For nights afterward, the darkness did not fully return. The sky glowed faintly, as though lit from within. People could read newspapers at midnight without lamps. Something enormous had happened, but no one knew what. At the heart of the Tunguska region, an area of forest larger than many cities lay flattened. More than 80 million trees were knocked down. They fell in a pattern that radiated outward from a central point, like grass pressed beneath an invisible hand. Yet, at the center, the trees still stood. They were stripped of branches. Their bark was scorched, but they remained upright. There was no crater, no obvious impact site, no fragments of metal or stone were found. Only destruction, arranged with unsettling precision. For years, the region remained unexplored. Siberia was vast, the area was isolated, travel was slow and difficult, and Russia, soon to be consumed by revolution and war, had little capacity to investigate an event that left no bodies and no obvious explanation. The forest was left as it was, silent. It was not until 1927, nearly 20 years later, that a scientific expedition reached the site. Led by Leonid Kulik, a Russian mineralogist, the team traveled for weeks through swamp and taiga. What they found defied expectations. There was no meteorite, no fragments, no impact crater. Kulik described a forest laid low as if struck by a massive aerial blow. The evidence suggested an explosion in the air, not at the ground. Survivors from nearby settlements were interviewed. They spoke of a fire in the sky, of a sound like artillery, of heat so intense that it burned clothing. One man recalled being lifted into the air and thrown several meters away. Another said the sky split open. Their stories were quiet, matter-of-fact. They were not embellished. They did not need to be. Scientists proposed explanations: a large meteor exploding before impact, a comet fragment composed of ice and dust vaporized by atmospheric pressure, perhaps a rare natural phenomenon never before witnessed at this scale. Each theory accounted for some details. None explained everything. If it was a meteor, where were the remains? If it was a comet, why was there so little water residue? Why were the trees at the center standing? Why did the blast flatten the forest without leaving a mark on the earth itself? The energy released was immense. Later estimates suggested it rivaled the force of a large nuclear weapon, yet no radiation was detected. No lasting contamination, no lingering heat. Just broken forest slowly reclaiming itself. Over time, new growth emerged. Young trees rose among the fallen trunks. Life returned quietly, as it often does, but the pattern of destruction remained visible from above, even decades later, a scar on the land. The Tunguska Event did not change borders. It did not end wars. It did not alter the course of governments, and perhaps because of that, it remains strangely understated in history. It was a moment of overwhelming power that left almost no human record. No photographs, no film, only testimony and trees. The sky that morning gave no warning. The forest did not resist. And then it was over, in seconds. To this day, no final explanation has been universally accepted. The event remains classified as natural, but it resists easy naming. Meteor, comet, explosion. Each word feels insufficient. What is known is this. Something entered Earth's atmosphere at tremendous speed. Something released extraordinary energy. And something vanished without leaving a clear trace. The people who witnessed it did not understand it. Neither, in many ways, do we. The land absorbed the shock. The forest fell. And the world moved on. The Tunguska Event reminds us that the planet exists within a wider silence, that forces beyond sight and sound pass near us, unseen. Most go unnoticed. One did not. It came without intention. It left without explanation. And in the quiet forest of Siberia, its absence remains its most enduring presence.